Hello, everyone, and welcome to another webinar from the GAAPP Academy 2021. The topic for this video is social media for beginners. Before we start, we would like to thank our generous sponsors that make the GAAPP Academy 2021 series possible: AstraZeneca, Sanofi Genzyme, Regeneron, and Novartis. So let's get started. Today's webinar is going to be presented by two Global Allergy and Airways Patient Platform staff. The first one is going to be Susanne Hintringer, which is the Global Outreach and Education Coordinator Manager at GAAPP, and my humble self, Victor Gascon. I'm the Project Lead and the Digital Transformation Manager. So before we talk about the topics today, we have to clarify this webinar is for absolute beginners, for those organizations that doesn't have any social media or have a very small, not relevant presence in the social media and they want to start from scratch. For those organizations with very few staff or very little exposure in the social media world, this is your video. But if you're looking for something more advanced, please check our GAAPP Academy website at gaap.org, and you will find a more advanced video for those organizations that already have a good social media presence and they want to increase it. So today's topic for this video for the beginners is why should nonprofits focus on social media? Then we will cover the three major social medias in the world as 2021: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Then we will cover few regional social media that you should take in consideration for certain regions of the world. Then we will talk about what should you focus on, your strategy, your plan. Then we will show you some resources that your nonprofit can use for social media management, and we will finish with a Q&A session. So before we talk about how, let's talk about why. Why should your organization even have social media? Why is so important, and how does it benefit you? So let's start with the basics. What are the social media? The social media are interactive technologies that allows the creation, the sharing, or the exchange of information, ideas, I don't know, interests, and other forms of expressions via the virtual communities and networks. So that terms not doesn't only apply to the most famous social medias like the ones we know, Facebook, Twitter, etc. Nowadays they also apply to messaging apps, for example, WhatsApp, Wechat, Line, those messaging apps that they have evolved technologically so much that they, besides the communication channel, they also have like sharing stories, sharing pictures or updates with your community, not only with the one-to-one or the group conversations. Although those are also considered social media. Then we ask ourselves, why should I use social media at all? So firstly, let's just have a look at this graphic. So accordingly to HubSpot, the main priorities of social media marketeers are to fundraise, generate brand awareness, recruit volunteers, share news or share campaigns. This is for nonprofits specifically. So we can see what nonprofits use social media for. They are not, so we all expect it to be only fundraising, but if you see our this graphic, news sharing, right, the gray color, campaign sharing, the dark blue color, brand recognition, which is so important for the brands, especially the ones that starting. And when I say brand, I mean the organization as well. The organization is a brand. So we can see, like, so basically social media is important because it's the cheapest, easiest, and most direct way for you to market your audience, your donors, your patients, your healthcare professionals, your volunteers, whoever you are targeting. Your communication, external communication, social media nowadays is the easiest way to do it. That's why. So now everyone is asking, wow, but that's a lot of work. Social media is a lot of work. Do I need to have a full team? How can I do this? My organization is only me, or so it's only me and two other person. We just started. We don't, it's okay. It's okay. We start small, and I'm gonna show you how. I'm gonna show you a model of how the normally an organization, an NGO incorporates social media, human resources that handle social media in their team slowly, starting from the zero manpower. So first, start with your current human resources. Whoever is handling the communication, maybe it's you, maybe it's the other person that works with the organization, maybe it's the person number three. Just ask them to start to do the social media to start very small. Please, you need to start small. Don't be an overachiever at the beginning. Don't overwhelm your staff with social media. Work just 2 or 3 hours a day. That's more than enough for you to get started. One, two networks maximum. You start small, just starting to present yourself to the world, to your audience, and it's important that your staff doesn't feel overwhelmed by social media. The second step, so when your organization already grows to the point that you have the funding or the structure necessary to have one human resource for communication, that person, if you only have that, I mean, if you only have one person in communications, that person should be the one that handles the social media. The person who is has the specialty, has a formation or the education in communications. So, so that person normally, besides social media, of course, is they also do internal and external communication, institutional communications, press releases, website works, blogs, etc. So they can. So when you have a communication staff, it's important that they incorporate social media in their daily duties, but still they don't need to be overwhelmed. It doesn't have to be even their part time. It's just 2 3 hours a week. If you have one communication personnel, they can dedicate a little bit longer, but still don't get too stressed at the beginning. So this is the third phase, the phase that we all want to achieve with our organizations, and we hope that you achieve with your organizations, is when you can diversify and grow your organization to the point that you can have one person to manage, sorry, the social media. That title is called community manager. As of now, that changes so much, but now in 2021, that title is called the community manager. I'm sure you have heard about it in everywhere, in the news, or in the social media that you use every day. So that is the person who will handle your social media on a daily basis. So when you reach this level, you are ready to bring your social media game to a next level. We are not going to talk about that in this video because it's for beginners. So if you have arrived to this point in the development of your organizations, we encourage you to watch our GAAPP Academy video for the social media, which is a more advanced social media training. So after human resources, it's about time to choose which social media should my organization use. I recommend everyone to like screenshot right now this table or ask for this presentation from us. We will give it to you. This is the 2021 edition of this table, but this is updated yearly, so it's always important to be on top of the game with the social media because it changes so much. So we are not going to go through all the information, just the very basics, because I want you to read it carefully later. So everyone knows Facebook, the one with more users. Be mindful that Facebook have more users because many people uses Facebook to log in into many websites. So having Facebook and using Facebook every day is not the same. And then we have Twitter, Pinterest, YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, and TikTok. So let's talk about demographics. Facebook normally, even here they say it's like ages 25 to 34. This is a little bit generous. Facebook nowadays I will increase that. I would say 34. I will reach to higher than 34 to be honest. Um, so Twitter is somehow more professional or for people with a higher level of education, let's say so. So I don't think demographic is very important on Twitter because the Twitter conversations are very related to very specific topics, very specific following of some TV shows or some superstars or some politic topics. So I don't think demographics is relevant on Twitter. Pinterest is more for artistic considerations or more creative. YouTube, we all know YouTube is the most famous viewing platform in the world, but it also a social media because now they incorporate community outreach messages, board, and peer-to-peer conversation is not only watching videos anymore. LinkedIn is more professional. Of course, then you see the ages, they range more from 46 to 55. I think this is accurate. But the most like not everyone start having a LinkedIn when they start their career maybe, and it somehow becomes important after when your career is developing more and or when also LinkedIn is very famous for companies to also have their page. But this is more professional. It's more in the professional field, I would say. Instagram, for sure, Instagram is with the young people, same as TikTok. These two very similar networks. One is Western, another one comes from China, but it has taken over the world as well. Young people, very fast consuming media, videos, photo. All the influencer world, they're all living here in Instagram and in TikTok. So which one is best? It depends. It depends. Think what is your audience? How old is the audience you're targeting, more or less? What is their purpose? Why they use the social media for? Do they use the social media for talking to each other, like looking for relatives or friends? Then maybe it's Facebook. Do they use the social media to discuss topics or to give their opinion? Maybe that's Twitter then. Do they use the social media for research or like more professional topics? And then maybe it's LinkedIn. So there is no rules, there is nothing written in stone here. It depends on your audience. So before you choose, have a look at your targeted audience. Just, draw a picture of the prototype person that is your audience, and then this way you would choose wisely. And of course, as we always say, if you have any question and any doubt or you are hesitant, GAAPP is here for you to help you.
The first social media platform that we want to have a closer look at with you is Facebook. The reason why Facebook is so important is that almost all NGOs are represented on Facebook. The most important things your organization can do on Facebook is creating a page, connecting and communicating with other users, sharing your thoughts, images, videos, and other things, planning events, joining or creating groups, and promoting your cause. Let's have a closer look at some of the features I've just mentioned. For those of you who do not know what a Facebook page is, let me explain it to you very, very briefly. Official Facebook pages are like private profiles, but they are intended for organizations. They are a place where nonprofits and other organizations can connect with their communities. Next, a few words on Facebook groups. Groups are a place where you can communicate with certain people, usually on shared interests. You can create one or also more groups if you want more, and decide on who you want to allow to join or not. And when somebody joins a Facebook group, they automatically start seeing the content from the group in their Facebook news feeds. So another feature that could be very useful for your organization are Facebook events. They let you organize gatherings in the real world with people on Facebook. If you want more information on Facebook events, I recommend looking at the Facebook help page that you see outlined here below on this slide, or you can always get in touch with Victor or myself anytime. As you may know, it is algorithms that decide which information a social media usually actually receives. I know algorithm might be a very difficult word for some or most of you, but you can imagine an algorithm like a type of recipe that tells a computer which rules it has to follow. And social media algorithms are especially tricky because the exact way they work is kept secret, and also social media algorithms are very frequently changed. Companies like Facebook say that they are making these changes to improve the user experience, which may be true, but it is also well known that the algorithms are changed in a way that allows companies like Facebook to make more profit. In any case, what we do know is that the following factors are very important to the Facebook algorithm. The first one is relationship. So it is relevant whether the post, a post in your feed is from a person or a business or a news source or another public figure. And it's also important whether the post comes from a profile that the user is often engaging with. The second important factor is the so-called content type. So it's relevant what type of media is in a post. For example, some types are videos, links, images, or GIFs, just to mention a few. Then the third factor that's relevant to the Facebook algorithm is popularity. So this means that the algorithm considers how the people who have already seen a post before you are reacting to it, especially how your followers or your friends are reacting to a post. That means whether they are sharing it, whether they are commenting on it, or whether they are just ignoring it, will all make a difference on whether the algorithm will decide to show you a post or not. And the last important factor to the algorithm is recency. So newer posts are usually placed higher, and the algorithm looks at when a post was published. To boil this down a little bit for you, here is what you can do to work with the Facebook algorithm instead of against it, and hence how you can be more successful on this platform. First of all, it's important to always reply to your audience. When you get a message from them, always reply. It doesn't have to be a long response, just do respond. The second thing you can do is that you should try to get your audience replying to each other. Another thing you can try is to aim for love more than likes. That might sound a little strange for you, but on Facebook there are different ways you can react to a post with. You may have seen the different emojis below a post, and one of them is the love symbol. It has these hearts, and those are more valuable to the Facebook algorithm than a simple like. So maybe you can try next time to explicitly tell your audience to reply with a love instead of a like, something you could try. Another important thing is to post when your audience is online. A very easy way to find that out is using analytics. If you are curious about that, please just get in touch with me. I can tell you more details. It's just too much to talk about in this very short presentation today, but I can certainly help you with that. Another thing you can try is making Facebook stories. That's a simple way to skip the algorithm, so it's a good idea to try that. If you have a Facebook group for your community, you should really invest some time and effort in that, because that's a very simple way to stay in touch with a defined community. Another way to, or not another way, but a way to expand your reach. So if you want to reach a greater community than the one you already have, is by using your best advocates. So try to get your best advocates to amplify your posts, and that way you can amplify your reach without investing ad money. Another thing that the algorithm of Facebook does not like and that you should avoid is posting so-called clickbait or misinformation or any other, I simply called it evil things here, other, well, hate speech or other things like that, but I guess I don't have to tell you that, but I just wanted to mention it. And last but not least, something that's becoming more and more successful on Facebook is long-form video, the long-form video format. If the content is relevant, if you have relevant content, then you should really consider producing video content. We also have a webinar on that. The next platform we want to focus on is Twitter. Twitter is a microblogging and networking site. It is one of the most popular social media platforms with over 300 million active users logging in at least once a month, and approximately 350,000 tweets are posted every single minute. You have to imagine that that's really much. Twitter users typically exchange quick and frequent messages. What your organization can do on Twitter is tweeting. That includes tagging, mentioning, retweeting, etc. We will get to that later. Then following, replying, and direct messaging. Let's have a look at what all these terms mean on Twitter. The first word I want to explain is following. Following someone on Twitter means that you are subscribing to their tweets as a follower. Their updates will then appear in your home timeline, and that person you're following is able to send you direct messages. The second word I want to explain is follower. A follower is someone who receives your tweets. If that someone follows you, they will show up in your follower list, and they will see your tweets in their home timeline whenever they log in to their Twitter account. And you can start private conversations via direct messaging with your followers. Next, some clarifications on the most important words on Twitter: tweet and retweet. First, tweet. A tweet is any message posted to Twitter, and it may contain photos, videos, links, and text. For text, however, there is a 280 character limit. All the messages posted to your profile are sent to your followers, and they are also searchable on Twitter search publicly. And the second word, retweet, describes a tweet that you forward to your followers. Another word you may have heard from Twitter is a thread. A thread is a series of connected tweets from one person or one organization. What you can do with a thread is that you can provide additional context, an update, or an extended point by connecting multiple tweets together, because as I've said, there is a 280 character limit to tweets, and there might be some messages that you cannot say in 280 characters. So a way to go around this is by just clicking the plus icon next to the tweet icon to create a longer thread for your users, your followers, I mean. Next, I will go into a little bit closer detail on a feature that I consider key to managing an organizational Twitter account. As we have mentioned, Twitter is a very fast platform, but the everyday duties of patient organizations often do not allow for you to check Twitter all the time. That's very understandable. So in order to appear present on Twitter, even though you are not, you can schedule tweets that Twitter will then publish automatically at a set date and a set time in the future. The way to do this is a tiny little bit complicated, but I will tell you step by step because it's really worth knowing. First of all, you just click on tweet like you do every time you want to make a simple tweet. Then you write whatever you want to write and add media as usual. But then, in order to schedule this tweet for the future, you just click on the calendar icon below. I've indicated it in the image you see below. Then you choose when you want to publish and you click confirm. When you want to edit a tweet you have scheduled already, or when you want to get an overview of all the tweets you have scheduled for the future, here is again in detail how to get to that overview. First, you click on tweet like we did before. Then you click on the calendar icon without writing anything into the tweet before that. Then you click on the text in blue below that says scheduled tweets, and then you can scroll through the like chronologically through the tweets you have scheduled for the future, and you can delete them or make changes to them. So this is all very practical if you know how to find it. I'm sure you've all heard the word hashtag before, but some of you might still wonder what exactly this word means. So I will try to explain it to you. Fun fact before that, the function of hashtagging was created on Twitter, so it was invented here, and it allows people to easily follow topics that they are interested in. So the way this works is that a so-called hashtag written with a hash symbol, so this symbol, is used to index keywords or topics on the platform. People just use the hashtag symbol before a relevant keyword or before a relevant phrase in their tweets in order to categorize these tweets, and this helps them show more easily in the Twitter search. So when someone clicks or taps on a hashtagged word, like for example, hashtag asthma, in any message, this will show them other tweets that include the same hashtag. So if I click on hashtag asthma in a tweet from GAAPP, I will automatically get to read all the tweets on the topic of asthma that were tweeted recently. Hashtags in general can be included anywhere in a tweet, so they don't have to be in the end, but they often are. And you might have seen the trending topics section on Twitter. These are the hashtagged words that have become very popular on the platform. They are indicated as trending topics in a special section of Twitter. Another important thing on Twitter are so-called mentions or tags. A mention or a tag, these two are synonyms, is a tweet that contains another person's username anywhere in the body of the tweet. And if you include multiple usernames in your tweet, all of those people will see your tweet in their notifications tab. So I will give you one example. If you publish a tweet and you write whatever text you want to write, and then you write at GA2P2, and that's the username of GAAPP, then we from GAAPP will automatically get a notification that we were mentioned by you. And usually if we find that out, we will amplify or react to this. So this is a way of amplifying of using your network to amplify your messages. Something very useful that you might really want to try. If your time for social media monitoring is very limited, you might want to consider using so-called lists on Twitter. These lists allow you to organize and prioritize the tweets that you see in your timeline. You can, for one thing, you can join lists created by others on Twitter, like one recommendation from my side, the GAAPP members list that you can reach via the GAAPP profile. If you have difficulties finding it, just get in touch with me. And another thing you can do on Twitter is creating your own lists of other accounts, for example, by group, by topic, by interest. And then you can click on the list and always see a timeline that will show you a stream of tweets from only the accounts on that list. That might sound a little complicated, but actually it's very simple. If you have, for example, you make a list called Lisa and Max, and in that list you choose to only follow your friends Lisa and Max. So whenever you click on the list Lisa and Max, you will only see the tweets these two friends have published. So this is a way to avoid all the white noise on social media that you are usually exposed to. I can only very much recommend using Twitter. I personally do it a lot for my work for GAAPP because it's very efficient and very time saving. The way to create a list, very briefly, is clicking on the word lists in the navigation bar and then click create new list. That's an icon at the top. Of course, the Twitter algorithm is different from the Facebook one. A few ranking signals for the Twitter timeline algorithms include how recent a tweet is, how relevant it is, which media you use. There is a term called rich media. If you use those, that's very useful for your ranking. Rich media include images, GIFs, videos, polls, and others. Another relevant ranking signal is engagement. That means, for example, likes, clicks, impressions, replies, retweets, and so on. Also relevant is the prominence of the author of a tweet. So how many followers does the author have? Where is the author located relative to the user receiving it? And the relationship of the user to the author and the behavior of the user are also relevant to the Twitter algorithm. This means that in order to be successful on Twitter without having to pay for ads, you need to maintain an active Twitter presence and you need to tweet at the right time. Now, I'm sure you will ask, when is the right time? I can tell you just a rule of thumb, and that says that the best time to post on Twitter is between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. But you can check your Twitter analytics to confirm when most of your followers are online and when they are active. If you need help with that, once again, just get in touch with me and I can tell you step by step how to get to Twitter analytics and what to look at there. Another way to be successful on Twitter is by applying tags purposefully, but I have already mentioned that beforehand. Also, the use of so-called rich media, as I've mentioned before, photos, videos, GIFs, etc., can improve your ranking a lot. Another thing you could try is to actively and explicitly encourage your followers to engage with your tweets. And you can see how that goes, whether it works, and if it does, you can do that more often. Another thing you could try is to check which trends and topics exist in your field of activity. One way to do that is, for example, by using Twitter lists that I mentioned before. And then when you have identified trends and topics, you can join those. And joining relevant trends and topics is a very, very useful way to be successful on Twitter. One last thing I want to recommend to you is using Twitter Analytics. I've already shortly mentioned Twitter Analytics before. You can, for example, have a look at how your tweets from the past worked, whether they were successful or not, and what was successful and what was not. And if you have identified what your audience is most interested in, what it engages with the most, then you can try to repackage this top content again and again for the future, because this is what your audience might want to be informed about more frequently or more precisely.
So thank you, Suzanne, for your insights on Facebook and Twitter. And now I'm back to explain to you very briefly about Instagram. Instagram is the social media that appeared, the people used at the beginning to take pictures and upload pictures. Then it went off fashion and then it came back. It came back very strong. So let's define what is Instagram, basic facts. So Instagram is very easy. You publish a picture, you publish a video, and the people interact with you. They like, they comment, you follow accounts, those accounts follow you back. It's a very easy network. It's just about sharing of images and videos and the interaction of other people on those. So quick facts about Instagram. Instagram was bought by Facebook back in 2012. The number of people who use Instagram has grown and surpassed the 1 billion people. Currently, this is 2021. And 995 photos are uploaded on Instagram every second. Over 4.2 billion likes happen on Instagram daily. So Instagram, which basically all of this means Instagram is very strong and is here to stay at least for few more years. This is an example of one of our organizations, Instagram, and how does it look, and how does the interaction looks like. But I'm sure you all very familiar with Instagram because it's also used widely, not only by organizations, but mostly by individuals. So one of the very famous features of Instagram is the direct messages. We all know the expression DM me, right? That comes from Instagram. So it's basically sending direct messages to other person that you follow, or that you want to follow, or that has accepted for you to communicate with them. You can share text, links, videos, libraries, different kind of things. So what is okay as an organization? Uh, so what? Let's rephrase this. When it's okay for an NGO to use the DM to reach out people, peer-to-peer interaction, just to say hello, just checking out on you, just casually sharing an awareness campaign. But this is casual. It shouldn't be very often. It shouldn't be very pushy. It is almost it's almost like a WhatsApp kind of interaction. What is not okay? What and to like about the DMs in Instagram, and what is this important? Instagram is very strict with the DMs, and what you shouldn't do in the DM. So be very mindful that any hate speech related to race, religion, gender, or ideological, political issues, any kind of hate speech will be banned. Your account will be absolutely banned forever. There is no going back. Instagram is very strict. Also, any misogynistic kind of comments or pictures, or videos, any bullying or abuse, any verbal violence, it's not only doesn't only have the penalty of your account being suspended, but it's also prosecuted by the law. Sending an unwanted graphic content, which is not only sexual. We also talk about gory, what the Instagram considers gory photos, so which it can happen for us working in health. Some of the pictures that we share, they are considered gory, even if they're just a patient with one condition, right? And abusive and repetitive messaging of to one person is also, it also has a penalty. Not It's not all the time like a absolute banning of your account. Sometimes it's only like 3 months ban, but Instagram is very strict. So please be mindful to respect the audience and just follow the rules, and you will be okay. Hashtags and tags, we have talked about this with Twitter and right and with Facebook, but anyway, so let's just go over it quickly. Tags allow social media users to engage an individual, business, or an entity. Just basically, you tag someone, that someone will receive a notification that you have been tagged in that picture, and then you will check. You use this when you want to share some picture or some post with someone that you want that person or organization to see that they have been tagged, so they can also interact or share. The hashtag, the very famous, I don't even have to talk about this, but hashtag is a word preceded by the hashtag sign, right? I know it has a proper name, but it's the hashtag sign now forever. Um, so it's to identify keywords or topics. This is how we identify trending topics. Or when we want to follow a campaign, we can just click on the hashtag, and then we will see every post that contains that hashtag. So this has become the leading tool for you to check how your audience interacts, or who else is talking about the same topic as you do. So now is our time to talk about stories. I think everyone knows Instagram stories or like Twitter any stories are basically the same in all the social medias. It's just a quick way for you to give like a very brief update to your audience or a very brief interaction. There is not only pictures and videos. No, you also have yes or no questions, polls, ask me anything, DM me, right? Ask for that engagement. So this is a very quick update that the people just scroll, they just check. So you have to give a very precise message in a very short time. So we have talked about the stories already, but Instagram has all the tools for videos, not only the posts as well, and the stories are also Instagram TV, the Instagram Live, or the Instagram Reels. Very quickly, Instagram Live is for live streaming, live interaction. When two-person they can go live together and discuss. You can go live with random people, etc. Instagram Reels, like those are the very short, like 15 seconds videos, very TikTok-like, right? They're creating with your smartphone. They're most like uh, entertaining, I would say. It's more for entertaining purposes than educational. And with those, the importance of the Instagram Reels is the one you find in the Explore tab of Instagram. And then we have Instagram TV, which is for longer videos up to 10 minutes. This is where you can upload your videos that you produce and that they have a length. So there is more information in this slide. We're not going to go through everything. So again, please ask us if you want to see the content in detail or screenshot this. So now let's talk about the algorithm, how the algorithm works for you as an Instagram user. So the posts or the videos that they push to you in the promotions in the Explore tab or the sponsored videos are based on the information about the post and how do you like it, if it's a video or a photo. Being mindful that this is not published by them, but they also calculate how long are you watching that video or that photo to calculate how much you like it. Information about the poster, how interesting they are to you, if they're your friend, and how do you engage with them, your activity, like if you're more like watching videos or photos, what kind of content you normally engage with, and then your interaction history, and they group all of this, and then that's the algorithm works for Instagram to share or suggest videos to you as a public, as an audience. So why this is important to know, because you can use this to target your audience as well. It's the same algorithm. So there is not much official information on the algorithm, but there is a consensus online of what you should do depending on what you want to get. So I want you to please screenshot also this table in the gray color, because so what to post if you want to more likes, photos of you, milestones, funny reels, etc. If you want more comments, filling in the blanks kind of post, games, ask me anything. Uh, if you want the people to save your post, which is also very important for the algorithm and for Instagram to promote your account, how to guide, step-by-step tutorials, resources, graphs, charts, trainings. These can be in the Instagram TV, right? IGTVs or the reels if they are short enough. Or if you want the people to share your post because, for example, it's a sponsor or promoted, then you can trending reels, memes, right? Breaking news. It really depends on what organization, what the content that the organization is putting out. But these, I really encourage you to just screenshot this and have it in mind and for your goals of Instagram promotion. So we have talked about the most widespread or the most famous social medias in a general level, right? Worldwide. But we have to be mindful that there is few regions in the world where this trend doesn't happen like that. Some social medias are not so prevalent in other countries because they are banned for political reasons. The country doesn't allow some information coming from outside, right, or from certain countries, or just because they have a very powerful, very local, powerful social media that the outside social media hasn't managed to beat yet. So let's go and see the world map. So we live in a globalized international society almost, right? So this map on the left, you will see in the most predominant social media. This doesn't mean that is the only social media, it's just the most predominant. So you see most of the world is blue, Facebook blue. Again, be mindful that many people need to use Facebook for login, so that's a trick. But Facebook is really still a dominant network in most of the world. And then we see some exception. Japan is more tending to use Twitter than Facebook, surprisingly. And we see that China is using Wechat. Wechat, we have commented briefly about Wechat. Wechat is a mix of a Twitter and an Instagram, I would say, and WhatsApp is a Chinese mix of those tools, and it is really helpful. It's a very nice tool to use, but it's almost exclusive to China, to the People's Republic of China. So they don't use so this in China or like in other regions like social media like Facebook or Twitter is banned by the government. So we have to be mindful sometimes when we if you targeting some countries, just make sure the social media is prevalent or is legal in that country. We also see Russia, even though they don't have a ban on any social media, they use another. They have one is more prevalent. It's called Contacte. I think is just a question of culture or languages, just like some social media has become more prevalent than the Western ones. And then we have as well Iran, where Instagram is more prevalent than Facebook. So this is just a quick look for you to mind the not the whole world uses the same social media or is allowed to use the same social media. There is more detailed information about this per country if you Google. So I just have this quick on the right. You see this table that I wanted to share with you. See that the 25 countries that spend the most time on social media, and you'll be surprised that the US is not the first, right? And is not even a Western country. It's the Philippines, the one who spent more time in social media, and with the US on the 24, China on the 25. And so you see like the European nations that by stereotype will think is the one who use social media more on the daily basis. They are in the low numbers here. So now a goal without a plan is just a wish. So what should I focus on? So we know about manpower, we know about social media, which one to use. So now let's talk about strategy. This is always important, and I said this in every video. A good strategy is 50% of your work done. So let's talk about one of my favorite topics here, the strategy that you need to lay it out before you start jumping into the social media. 67% of nonprofits have no strategy, policies, or goals documented, and that is a mistake. That is probably setting you up for failure. So I'm gonna teach you right now how to make a very quick strategy for your social media, your beginner social media again. So first, we have talked about this. Identify your audience. Who is your customer? How old they are? Maybe the gender is relevant for you. I don't know. Normally it's not, but maybe for your cause it is. The income and education level, right? The social demographics. What the interests outside of your cause, right? Not so this happens a lot with patient organizations that we think just because a person has certain condition, that condition is everything. in their life. They're always looking information about that. They just care about that. That is not true. We all have a life. We all like cats and dogs and have other hobbies and interests besides our health or social status, right? So define your goals. Your primary goal will be likely to create awareness for your cause, right? Or donations, or attract volunteers, or reach healthcare professionals. So you will note that the big let's not call it big, the most developed NGOs or patient organizations, they have reached a point that they use social media to drive brand recognition or to increase their brand recognition. Maybe that's not your starting point, but so this is, think carefully, what do you need, what do you want the social media for before you jump into even choose one social media. It is for funding, it is for donation, it is for just awareness. You just want to let know the people what you're doing, or you're looking for volunteers. So you need to define that first. And I think that is the second step, right? If first step, your audience. Second step, what you want to transmit to the audience, right? What is your message? The third step is to find your audience. So when we have the information, the number one, number two information, then it's our time to find our audience. How do we find the audience? We just talk about it very at the beginning of this presentation. With this table again, so you need to find your audience based on demographic, the purpose that they use social media, what is the social media best for, right? Because one thing is what your audience use the most, another one is what so that's that social media that your audience use the most suit your purpose or fit the purpose of your communication. You need to think that. So now is our time to talk about social media managing resources for nonprofits. So as you know, managing so different social media accounts, it can be very time consuming, and this is a very strong burden on your resources, human and otherwise, in your organization. So I really really recommend to get any of the platform, the social media managing platforms that we're going to show you after these slides, for so you can centralize all your social media management in one platform. I know that you will hear a lot that using these platforms decreases your CEO, or the algorithm doesn't like that much. It doesn't matter. So this is your beginning of your journey in the social media. You don't need to be overly worried about the results. You just need to be worried to put yourself out there. So, and with the very limited resources, so I really recommend you to start with any of these um, platforms. So let's start with a very quick glance of how is a social media management tool. So this is like a very typical dashboard of a social media management tool. I think this one is HotSuite or a similar one. So you have your all your posts, your schedule posts. You have a calendar here. The posts they're scheduled for certain day, certain time for each social media. Right, it's very easy to use. You don't need to have any knowledge or training. They all have tutorials for help you to use. It's very user friendly, so everyone can manage this. You don't need to be an expert on technology or communication, and they really help you to organize your GAN and your priorities and your posting density. So when you use these kind of tools, as they come with a publishing or scheduling calendar, you can see very clearly when you have too many posts in one day or in one week, or in one month, or the other way around, like when you have empty too many days of no posting. So this is how typically these tools work. So you have your calendar, you have your messaging, your interactions tab, which is, it collects all the messages from Instagram, from Facebook, from Twitter. You can reply to all your audience from here. This is a one-stop centralized solutions. That's why I always recommend to use this kind of tools, and several other applications and analytics, which they will become eventually important as your organization grows. So this is just for you to have a quick look at some of the social media management tools that exist. Nowadays, of course, this is done by the one who get the number one. This is not impartial. So I just want you to have a look at the names and the features of each app or tool. So we have the Cleancher, Fashion, Sprout Social, HotSuite, which is the one we use currently at GAAPP. Agora Pools, Loomly, Social Pilots, and Devo Buffer. Later, there is so many. They are different. The price, you please don't check the. I don't want you to focus on the prices now because we will talk about it shortly. So you just have to check what features they have with the free version or the premium version. What do you need? And I just invite you to explore one or two. Start with the free version, always with one or two that you like and that you feel comfortable, or your team feel comfortable using, and that they feel like it's user friendly and easy to manage. Just check out one or two, and then when you find your favorite, then you explore the pricing options for, because they are really similar between all of them. So this again, if you want this table, you can just screenshot this, or you can ask to us in GAAPP, and we will gladly send to you. So I will never get tired of giving you this message. Ask the NGO price. Always, always. Most of the online solutions offered and technology solutions have an NGO price, even if they don't showcase on their website. Be very mindful of this. So when they don't have the price on the website, you ask the sales representative or the chatbot or whoever is in the line for them to give to you the NGO price. And most of the cases, in many cases, if they don't have it, they may create it for you. Why they will create it for you, or why they will give you an NGO price? Many companies, they will like honestly show solidarity with your cause, empathize with your cause or with your work, and it also provides them a return on investment in terms of reputation and marketing, and you can even offering them some exposure in exchange of a reduced price or a free tool. Normally, they give that this social media management tool, they give it for free for most NGOs, and if it's not free, it's a very reduced price. So don't go immediately buy whatever price you see in the website. I encourage you to talk with any sales representative of your region, your country, to speak your language, and ask for the NGO price. Always, don't be shy. So to close this session, let's provide you with a very quick summary of what Suzanne and myself have explained to you during this webinar. Number one, choose which social media you should use based on your social demographic and your organization needs. Remember these two. Make a strategy, super important. The fact that one person in your organization should spend around 2-3 hours a week minimum for social media. If you can invest more time, it's good, but if not, it's a good starting point for absolute beginners. Remember, your entering your social media world, it should be slow and progressive. And then, of course, measure your impact and progress. Using the free tools provided to you in the previous slides. When you measure your impact and the success of your social media or your return, it helps you to change the strategy or to reinforce some points of your strategy, or to change your strategy completely. To close our session today, we would like to thank again the sponsors that make GAAPP Academy 2021 possible: AstraZeneca, Novartis, Sanofi Genzyme, and Regeneron for the general support. And thanks thank to you as an audience. Thanks for staying on the line and for watching our webinars in the GAAPP Academy. Remember that any question, any little doubt, we are here for you. You can count on us. You can reach to us by email, by phone, by any other means. We are here to answer your questions. And now we start with our Q&A. So thank you very much.